Hello everyone. I trust that you're all well during this terrible time whilst the coronavirus pandemic rages on, and that you continue to stay safe and well. Thank you for inviting me to judge your two competitions, the Barrett for food, glorious food, and the Withel for travel. And that reminds me how much we've endured during the lockdown over the past several months. As usual, I've indicated how your pictures evoke memories or feelings, and then I've commented on technicalities with some suggestions for improvement where indicated. First of all, the Barrett Trophy for food, glorious food. The first picture is coffee and chocolate. Gosh, doesn't that look rich? Truly scrumptious. I could just pick up a fork and tuck in, and can't you feel those inches going on? It's just a little red for my eye though, and a pity the edge chops off the coffee beans on the right. Perhaps try in future to keep everything in the frame? 16 marks. Next is Kentish fare. I find the way I have to look at all the different produce appealing. What a choice, and cleverly assembled so that it comes from the same county. The setting is appealing too, from the Arga range and pans to the homely kitchen notice board. It gives us a context for the display. Very clear and well exposed, but with so much to look at, the composition doesn't help direct my eye to any main subject. But 19 points, second place. Third is corn. Although I'm not a fan of corn to eat, I really find the cobs fascinating structures. Details of the plant's receptacle with the bounty of all the ripe seeds shown here, but do we need the top and the bottom of the fruit? Only if it were a guidebook shot. Just a pity it's a little soft. Take care with holding focus the next time. 13 marks. Golden brown. This reminds me of my grandfather. He always ate his Yorkshires separately from the beef and gravy, often afterwards as a real pud with golden syrup. Exposure with the white cloth and the plate are well handled, and the minimalist approach appeals to me. Now, where's that tin of Tate and Lyle? 15 marks. Our Love Will Go On Neon. I enjoyed the pun in the title. It's not often we see a very manipulated image, and the solarization treatment makes this a fascinatingly different visual approach to a cut onion. But is it one that you like? It's just a pity that the ends of the bulb are cut off, and I think better here for us all to see it all. 10 marks. Scone. Do you know, I love a scone so much, and you're really making me feel hungry. But I'm trying to resist them. I have to cut down on sugar and fat intake. It's just a tad soft, and I think important to remember here when using auto exposure indoors that shutter speeds are likely to be slow, so we have to steady the camera. 13 marks. Spring onions. I always enjoy the sharpness of a spring onion in a salad. Composition in still life is important though, and this simple setup is appealing. However, can I suggest trying different layouts, perhaps with the root ends closer to give a fan shape? As it is here, my eye doesn't want to settle on any one of them. It's a tad soft too, so as with the previous picture, steadying the camera should help. 11 marks. A head start. I can't help noticing that a sandwich has gone and the plumpest scone has been started on. It's an interesting story here that begs a few questions. Would I want to be in your shoes when your partner returns? Why hasn't the tea been poured out yet? I enjoy looking at the tea table and the nostalgia of the way it used to be. It's a clean, crisp, well-exposed picture, and it tells a really good story too. Well done, 20 marks and first place. What it says. I enjoy looking at all the foodstuffs put together this way. The carrot, tomatoes, the onion, apple, plum. Are they kumquats? Making me think about them adds to the story. Altogether, what are they for? Some kind of chutney, perhaps? It's interesting, but just make sure all the objects are inside of the frame for a still life. The carrot root just too close to the edge. 14 marks. Indulgence. You do know how to make my juices flow. It looks rather like we've enjoyed the chocolate feast. Now time for the cheese and wine. Yes, please. It's well composed, but just a little dark towards the back. Is it possible to arrange a light so that we can see the colour of the red wine? 14 marks. Some like it hot. Chilies certainly have a vibrant red colour, and the two complementary colours of the red fruits and the green stem and calyx do go well together. The slightly damaged one, right of centre, gives a point of interest. Otherwise, where would our eye rest? Pity it's a little soft. Care needed to steady the camera when using a longish lens under low lighting conditions. 11 marks. Turkish market. Aren't the colours great? Doesn't the fruit and veg look wholesome? There is such a range to look at, but the camera angle helps by taking our interest from the peppers in front to the customers and stall holder towards the back. Well exposed, and what part of the picture should be sharp? It's always said to be the main point of interest. And as the customers are just looking, I enjoyed looking at the stock and the display, so my interest is drawn to the veg at the front. Don't those peppers and squashes, or are they marrows, look plump? 17 marks. Fish and chips from Barker's of Northallerton. How did you know that I'm a sucker for fish and chips? And a trip there always leads to the same choice from the menu. It does look scrumptious. Well photographed, exposure and focus are just right, and the few fern fronds add to the setting. Just a question, is that table number really needed? 18 marks and highly commended. A Greek feast. Everything looks delectable. Don't you just love the taste of fresh, crusty tiger bread? It's intriguing too how the cutlery is set out with the knives and forks the other way round. Might it be better to tidy up the place settings a little before photographing the scene? Although sharp and well exposed, I feel stepping back a little to get the plate in the lower right fully into the frame would help the composition and set the scene. 12 marks. Fishing in Fuquay. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. We have to infer that the young man is casting his net for fish. So is this really more of a travel picture than one that meets the theme of food, glorious food? I leave that with you. The action's well captured, and we do have to admire the skill to throw the net like this, and it always surprises me that there are fish to catch so close to the fisherman. A great action shot, the movement is frozen and sharp, but just a tad dark on the man's front. Nevertheless, waiting for the fish. 15 marks. Nothing beats Jim's raspberry crumble layered with Devon ice cream and washed down with red wine. What a title. And it looks like Jim is thoroughly enjoying his pud. The lighting on his face suggests that may be the last glass from the bottle. A happy moment has been caught well to make us smile along with Jim. Photographically, though, a few thoughts about composition. The bright window behind him draws our eye away, and the table looks bare. Perhaps moving the radio in a bit would help. And Jim doesn't look too comfortable sitting like that. 13 marks. Homegrown. There is just something unique and satisfying about the smell of fresh-picked homegrown tomatoes. Can't you just imagine pulling the calyx off one and giving it a sniff? A fine plate of firm tomatoes. Some suggestions about composition. Take pictures from different angles to show more of the cupboards and the context of the kitchen. Or keep them out of the shot completely, leaving the marble worktop to provide the only background. 13 marks. And finally, the eyes have it. I always find pictures of fish displayed for sale like this intriguing. Are they always displayed belly up? And they aren't cleaned yet? Is this method traditional in different places? I know they're laid on their sides in Eyemouth, but what's the way it's done in Whitby? It's well exposed and sharp, but is the picture glorious? What do you think? 14 marks. Just to recap, the highly commended image is fish and chips from Barker's of Northallerton. And yes, I do like fish and chips, and it is very difficult to photograph cooked food and still make it look wholesome. And here I think the photographer has done really well. The exposure and focus are just right, and the setting sets the context for the meal. Well done. Second place goes to Kentish Fair. And I did find this an appealing display of different foodstuffs from the same county. It is important that the context of a display such as this is shown clearly for us. And here the photographer has done really well in a clear and well exposed picture with so much to look at and enjoy. And finally, first place went to Head Start. And this is a picture that really does tell a story. The sandwich is gone. The scone has been started upon. What sorts of questions might be asked for our missing partner? And I did enjoy the nostalgia of the tea table set out the way it used to be. Clean and crisp, as I said, well exposed, well displayed. A really good story. Well done.